going to look at some of the highlights and features of Bless. Second, we're going to look at some of the most important changes for the Steam version. And finally, we're going to wrap up with some information that we think you'll all be really excited to learn about. Before we get into those details, please enjoy this new concept trailer for Bless.
Wow.
And now, your featured presentation.
Sorry, guys.
It's a rough concept. Is everything up here on this projector going to be shared with public?
Yeah.
Too late.
So we got a lot to talk about. I'm about to break down the Bless press event and give you my honest opinions on everything that we saw. But before we jump into that, I want to start this video off with some high notes. First up, I want to thank you guys for helping the channel reach 1,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate all the support, and I just want to let y'all know that this is only the beginning. And I was also chosen to be a Bless emissary, so that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much where the high notes end. So I want to preface this by saying I'm still going to play Bless. I'm still excited for the launch rush, but my expectations have changed. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, and I'm not here to piss in your cereal. I know a lot of you are really excited for Bless, and I know I've also helped drum up that excitement. What I want you guys to know is that emissary or not, it doesn't matter what game, I'm going to give you my honest and real opinions. And I'm not going to sugarcoat things if I don't like what I see. And also, it's the Bless community team. The beginning clip, that was just me joking around. That was just some sarcasm. That's not meant as a slight to any of y'all. I appreciate the hard work you've put in. But at the same time, that just sort of encapsulates the feeling that I got from this event. It really summarizes the feeling I've got from not only the presentation, but just watching the changes and the fact that this is your major event and we're sitting here watching it through the phones of influencers. We're watching the most crucial information, the biggest hype day before early access through the phones of influencers. And if we wanted to gather any information, we basically had to pour through 20 different streams. We had to jump from stream to stream to stream and hope that we're landing on a good part, or hope that their phone isn't acting up, or maybe that they're on a stream computer. Going into this, my hype levels were through the roof. But now I'd be a liar if I sat here and told you that I wasn't a bit disappointed from what I saw. Anyways, I've been sitting here grinding. Like, I've poured through every single stream. I've watched and skimmed so many minutes. I've broke down every streamer's gameplay. I've just looked for every little nugget of information. And I was sitting here writing this really detailed script to express exactly how I felt about what we witnessed from the press event. But I got to the point to where I felt like it was going to take me more than a week to get this video out. And I felt like this would be a disservice to you. So I just decided to hop on here and wing it. I just wanted to give you my raw thoughts on what I felt about the changes that we witnessed from the eyes of someone who's poured many hours into multiple versions of Bless. So what we're going to cover in this video is the new combo system, build choice, build variance, the rune system, stances, and a lot. But before we get into that, I just want to give a shout out to Sir Medieval. This is his dungeon video I got playing in the background. I suggest you go to his channel and check him out. He's doing big things over there and putting out great content. So anyways, let's get this rolling. So here's my thoughts on the new combo system. I think the new combo system has, for the most part, has actually ended up worse than what we had before, and I'm going to tell you why. The skill design was not meant for a system like this, and we didn't see such sweeping change that would make it fit this new paradigm. Most skills function almost exactly the same. There's little tweaks here and there, and there's little redesigns. And other than the Guardian, I'd say the Guardian and maybe the Berserker, but the Guardian was really conducive to this type of playstyle, to a combo playstyle. But for some of the classes, the combos just really don't make sense. And not only that, I feel like it has hurt the overall control we've now had over certain mechanics like CC, core skill mechanics, and just being able to flow with your kit like we did before. Oh yeah, I just want to break up my rant for a second, and I want to thank Carthh for putting together this spreadsheet with all the new skills and chains and combos. I really appreciate the work he's been doing. So that's another person that if you haven't already checked him out, you need to go check his channel out. So first of all, I'm not going to dive into every single thing, but I just want to give some examples. If we look at the mage kit right here, one of the combo openers is a knockback. So in order to get to some of these other skills, like, look, ice waves right here is a big AoE skill. So let's say that we're in a dungeon and I want to use ice waves and I'm not an ice build. In order to use that, I'm going to have to use the pushback skill, which if the mobs aren't immune to CC could really piss off my teammates. And then every other piece of this kit, I would imagine Frostfire has been reworked, but Frostfire used to function as a combo finisher. For example, it did more damage if the target was frozen or had fire debuff on it, and even more if it had both. So I can only imagine that's been completely changed, but what's taken its place? And then you have this skill, I don't remember what it's called, like static lightning, electric fire, who freaking knows? But what it did was it debuffed your enemies, slowing them, and then you could detonate it to do AoE damage, or it sped up an ally or yourself, and then you could still detonate it to do AoE damage. So I'm having to open with a situational skill like this, and then only going one path can I detonate the AoE. But what if I wanted to combo my AoE? Think about that. And what I want to paint a picture for you right here already, and this is something newly discovered. I didn't even think about this going into the video. But if I want to control an AoE combo right now, it's already looking really gimped. And I don't mean gimped as in terms of strength. I just mean in terms of combat flow. Let's just look at their AoE options now. Before, there was so many different AoE bars I could build. And if I were going air, say if I were going with an air DPS build, I would have things like Thunderstorm, Chain Lightning, Typhoon, and electric fire all slotted, and I would use those AoEs in different rotations based on the situation that was at hand. And there was clever ways to rotate them, and it might be different in this PvE encounter or this PvP encounter, and it might be different based on what build I'm going for. But now your AoE interactions are always going to be pretty dang similar, and they're tied behind combos, so there's going to be less coordination and control over how you can lay down your AoE. For example, right here, this is a new AoE skill, and then one of your bread and butter AoE skills is locked behind a knockback. Now that might seem cool, that might seem fine and dandy, but just think about this. Think about you're in PvE and you're doing AoE packs and the mobs aren't immune to CC. Now you're knocking them all back away from your allies, pissing them off just so you can get an AoE skill in. Let's move on to ice itself. I have to do a single target rotation to get to my ice waves. I can't layer it with other AoEs just like bam at the moment that we want it, at the moment that maybe we pulled in the enemies. Do you know what this does to PvP? This could have ramifications in PvP. Having less reliable AoE could actually affect how a small group can deal with a Zerg. I'm not saying that's exactly going to happen, but it's a possibility. And now let's move into build choice. Going into this, I was really excited about the new combat, and I made my video breaking down the new combat and talking about why I liked it. But after my video, I started to watch it more and more, and as I started to watch it more and realize that there might be a lot of forced elements that I don't really like, I was like, you know what, it's okay. It's fine. I'm fine with a compromise, and that compromise is that with this new system, we're going to be getting so much more customization to our kits. We're going to be getting so much more build options. And what led me to believe that was the new gem system that they were showing, and some quotes from the developers themselves. And I put some of these quotes up in my last video. One is when asked about things they were doing with the new system, they said, in addition, we have also restructured the skill system so that even in PvE and PvP there are greater variety of strategies and tactics that are viable depending on the player build. That sounds awesome. That's amazing. Another quote: the current skill system works through players improving their skills by investing skill points, but in the future, players will be able to diversify their combat style by choosing which skill effects to grow and how to make their skill combos. Again, that sounds awesome. And another thing it's doing is it's painting the old skill point system an inferior light, basically pointing to the new system as something improved, something better. It's giving us more control. And it also said how to make their skill combos. So maybe they were originally intending on us being able to choose which skills combo together, which would have been amazing. Hell, even choosing stance skills would have been amazing. And I'm going to get into that, but not just yet. First, I want to talk about what are our build options right now. What are the new build options? Thanks to QMGSaint for putting out this video. But now, as you can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and pause it. You have your new stance system. Right off the bat, you can choose from 4 stances. And when you choose a stance and you select it, which that's just poor translation right now, it says mount. When you mount that stance, you then get the predetermined abilities that come with it. You get the chain skills that are tied to it. You see in Carth's dock, say if you're playing a mage and you choose the fire stance, you're going to get these predetermined combos with the system. Then how can we make this our build? You can't choose, you can only choose a stance, so that's the first layer. You get to choose a stance out of 4 skills, out of 4 stance skills right off the bat. Now these come later, and we'll get into that later. So you can choose a stance out of 4 skills, and if we count the later options, you can choose a stance, you can choose 2 stances out of 6 skills. Then what can you do further after that? You can't change the chain skills that start the combos, and you can't change the combos themselves. But you can now slot gems into these skills. And this is where I was like, oh my god, with everything they're saying, we're gonna really be able to augment the skills. Like, they're painting it in a light that's better than what we had before. And it might be a little bit better. This portion might be a little bit better, but let's look at this. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this for a second.
Is not final, so it's confusing even to us because.
Okay.
Like, what does that mean?
So
Yes,
he's going down
Crit
one
chance.
path, and he's able to increase crit
And
chance
then
in the
this would
skill.
be damage
So
crit.
crit, and then if you stop right here, when you're done, when you charge up this skill, so this skill now, when you charge it up and you reach the full charge, you're gonna stun the target you hit. And now you get 2 different paths that you get an effect after you charge it. So here you get increased movement speed by 5% for 3 seconds after getting the full charge. And on this one, the one before, you get increased attack power for 3 seconds after getting full charge. So not really game-changing stuff, and that's actually one of the better examples. You know, you get the full charge, now I can get some movement speed, I can put some distance. It's actually a good amount of altering, but not to the actual skill functionality itself. So this is what the gem system is going to do for the stance combo skills. What is it replacing? It's replacing skill points. And again, skill points were painted in kind of a bad light, as if they were completely inferior. Well, I don't have the client installed anymore, so I'm sorry that I actually am not going to be able to jump in and show gameplay, but I'm going to show you the skill tree and give you some exact examples of what it's replacing. So if we look at Mage for an example, this was the old system. You didn't have gems to slot, but you could put points into skills, and up to 5 points. What did it do? So let's say for Ice Spear, for example. Ice Spear, each point would increase the scaling by 5%, and it would also, I believe it also reduced CDR. It actually changed from skill to skill. It would offer different things from certain skills, and at times you would maybe get like 2 or 3 effects that were getting changed for each point that you put in. For example, in this skill called Winter Wind, which is Winter Wind even in the game anymore? Dun dun dun. Yeah, it is. Okay. Locked behind a combo, an AoE combo at that. You gotta start off with a PB-AoE to get to your single target spike skill. Great coordination options right there. So anyways, Winter Wind, you would increase the scaling, and you would also reduce the mana cost on it, because this skill costed a crap ton of mana. That was one of the drawbacks to it. But with each point, you're going to get mana reduction on it. Is this system amazing? No, I was actually excited to hear it was going to be replaced, because I'm like, yes, we're going to get to really augment the skills. And we could augment the skills through the passive system before, but just staying on stance skills versus the old skill point system, it wasn't vastly different. and it's not like it's vastly improved. First major difference is that it actually, once you got beyond the first point, it would cost a good chunk of points to actually get the skills in. In the end game, when you've actually accumulated a lot of points, you would need to reset your deck so that you can get your points back, and then you could spend it wisely. Because while you're leveling, you're not spending your points wisely, but you're going to reset your deck, and now you're going to spend it wisely, and you're going to dump points into certain abilities that you want to, so you can get the increased bonuses. Now you're probably, I don't know what the cap's going to be like, but if you look at the video now, apparently, you know, these gems are pretty easy to come by. A lot of the, it seemed like a lot of the players at the playtest were getting to max out a lot of these. So now you're going to get to maybe maximize every ability and choose a certain path for every ability eventually. And some of them offer a little bit more interesting effects than before, but it's not some huge, vast, game-changing performance, because you have to, the big thing is you're not comparing just the customization. That's not the only thing that's being lost. You're completely losing the ability to choose the exact abilities you want to slot on your deck. You choose every ability, every single ability I wanted to put on my deck. I had complete choice of the way I wanted to slot my character out. Now we're handed everything based on the stances. So let's go a little further. Now we're going to go to the non-stance skills. So whenever you put a point here, and I'm going to say this, I actually like the non-stance skill morphs. They're a lot more altering, a lot more game changing, but now these are going to replace the old passive system. So it's not just a completely new added layer of customization. You're getting rid of the old passive system, and you're blending some of it into here, and you're choosing certain abilities to morph out of 3 paths. But here's the big kicker. You don't get to customize a lot. You're only getting 8 stance skills to choose from, and you only can have 4 stance skills slotted at a time. So you're only getting big control, big change on 4 skills. And so what they actually did was they took some of these skills that actually had more attached to them, and they stripped away components to them and then redistributed it amongst this, as well as attach some old passives to some of these abilities. So fires a smoke bomb, reducing the movement speed of enemies in the smoke by 15%. So right here, he can increase the chance, he can increase crit chance by 5%. The next one is reduce cooldown by 20 seconds, that's big. Fatal chance, that's just bad translation, it's crit chance. So another 5%. And this SP level, that's going to be your stance level. That's gated by once you hit 45 and go beyond, getting more levels on your stances. So here, when you're in the cloud, you get your invasion rate increased by 15%. There's a further 15% cooldown reduction. I think that was the second node, was more evasion rate. This one, you can increase your party's skill damage by 5%. So these are some pretty decent game-changing things that alter the skills and augment them so you can do different things with them. But again, this is going to be for only 4 skills in your deck, and you're only getting to choose out of 8 skills. Again, if I didn't say it, shout out to QMGSaint. Thank you for getting that footage for us. And so those are some pretty big things, and so you're getting to morph some of these skills in big ways that change up their gameplay flow, and that was what I was hoping that we were going to get for most of the skill system. Whenever you're talking about skill points before as if they're very limited in what they can do, and that you're getting more ability to create new tactics and customize your character at a deeper level. It's like, oh my god, we're gonna get to augment. Maybe we'll just get to choose a morph out of 2 things to make this skill do something different. Like, it didn't have to be that robust to beat this out. But what we're getting now is, one, we're losing the choice of the whole reactive thing. That's all gone. The reactives weren't that great, but we're also losing the core selection. You used to choose core. This is similar, I guess, now to choosing stances, kind of, but you actually had complete control for every class, because some classes will have better control than others, but you had complete control over when you wanted to utilize your cores. And then you still had the passive system. And so, for example, this passive system, I'm not going to say it was the greatest. I actually was still left wanting. And I think that the new augment system is better, but it's not better at the compromise and at the sacrifice of losing everything else that we're losing. And there's another thing to think about, is that they didn't have to spend all the time and resources on making a new combat system. They could have just taken what we had right here and made it even better. They could have added a morph system to skills over here, or added some version of their gem system to skills over here. They could have added more passives. They could have, there's a lot of things they could have built upon that was already in existence. Let's look at parameters. So parameters is the system that's replacing the old, and I don't have the greatest screenshot of it, it's replacing the old passive stat system. And so in the old passive stat system, you could put certain points into these different passive trees. Some of them were your core stats, like this was int. And for mage, this was intelligence. This one was HP. This one's technique, which increased your haste and cooldown reduction, things like that. Your hit, it also gave you more hit rate. This was crit chance. These were defensive stats. So you had based on, because you have a finite amount of points, you had to prioritize different stats. But in the new system that we're getting, which is the parameter system, let's look at that. This is replacing the old passive stat system. So here's the parameter system. Some of those same things are built into it. So for example, look, and I'm sure they're going to put more stats tailored to the class you're playing, because right here he's playing ranger, and then you see agility, so that's one of their core stats. But look at this. Look at the way this is designed. This is completely linear and on rails. The only choice you have is where you start. But look at this in another way. And what I saw in some other videos was people really had almost all this decked out. The way it's designed right here is you're going to be getting these gems for it, and it looks like eventually you're going to get everything unlocked. So again, we're going to a new system with more variety of tactics and strategies, and characters will be different based on the way they choose to build their character. But this isn't a build option. This removes meaningful choice. Eventually, you will very likely have everything unlocked. And you don't actually get to really choose along the way. You have to go in certain paths in order to unlock new ones. And some of them are stuff like guild XP. It's not even really character building. A lot of it is external non-combat stuff woven in. And another problem with the system is yes, it hurts build variance, but it also rewards grind. This is just a pure vertical power climb. This is going to completely reward the person who's put in more time with pure power. A horizontal option would be having a set limit, and yes, you're not really going to get pure horizontal progression. I don't think pure horizontal progression is good. You do need some vertical progression, but what you want is with those smaller vertical climbs, players that reach those points, a lot of their power is just in more choice that they can have, more choices of ways to build their character for certain play styles, and this doesn't promote that. This completely removes meaningful choice, and it's just like straight up. There's no choice here, so it's just you either have it all unlocked or have it more unlocked than the person you're against, or you don't. And so I want to hit on one last part of this system that I didn't actually think to touch on before. So now we can only slot 4 stance skills, and we only get to choose out of 8. Some of these used to exist as the shift mechanic. So for example, for Guardian, if you look at Guardian's Faith, this was his shift mechanic. Every class used to have a shift mechanic that they would use, that they would hit shift, or you could bind it to something different, and it would spend energy. Every class had energy, and this shift mechanic had a skill component, and it also functioned as a CC break. Well, now these are not guaranteed. You actually have to slot them as a stance skill, and most of these shift skills are so core to your character's power and strength and what they bring to the table that they're no-brainers. So Guardian's Faith, you grant immunity to all damage for 2 seconds to the Guardian. He can't move, but he's also going to absorb 70% of all damage dealt to parties members behind the caster. And you know what? These can be morphed, so very likely he's going to be able to take that back up to like 90%. I think that's where it was. I think it was at 90% before. So that is huge. That's bigger than most of these skills here. So some of these are just no-brainers. They're just going to have to occupy a slot, which means I'm not actually getting 4 choices. I'm getting 3 choices now. So now that's another example of us getting less build variance. Because for example, one of Mage's core mechanics is their teleport skill. They have to choose that as a non-stance skill as well. So yeah, so that's why I really think that the new combo system is very rigid. It's removing choice, and we're actually getting less build variance with this system. And like I said before, I was fine with the compromise of even if the new combo system wasn't as good as before. I'm fine with that compromise as long as we're getting more options to make our characters our own. Alright guys, while editing this, I thought I was getting close to done, but apparently this is gonna be a freaking 2-hour long video if I kept going at the same rate. So I'm gonna end up breaking this into parts, and there's some really crucial big things that I'm leaving out that I just have to leave out. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna make a part 2 and get that out to y'all in the next day or 2 as well. Cover the rune system, which I think is huge and really needs to be covered, and I'll show you how something ridiculous like this can happen, like this video that was passed around the Bless community a little bit. And so if you really want to see that and see that breakdown, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel and just keep refreshing the page. I thank y'all for watching. Again, I thank y'all for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. I'm going to keep putting in the work to make sure that I'm informing y'all with all the best information that I have, and I just want to keep delivering what I really feel about the game. So take care.